Hey, happy Mother's Day. And let me say to all of you moms, thank you for all that you do. We're starting a brand new series today called Unsung Heroes. And we thought, we need to start with moms. They've always been the unsung heroes. I've been thinking about all the things you've been doing in the last 7 to 8 weeks. You guys have been teachers. You all have been like investigators. Who hit who? You've been short order cooks. I mean, it's shocking what you have been able to pull off. And a lot of people won't get that. I mean, you've had to raise kids and raise husbands. And so we say, hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, a lot of moms I've talked to said, well, I don't feel like a hero. I feel like a zero. I mean, when we got into the coronavirus, I thought, hey, now it's time after 8 weeks for the corona. I get it, okay? Maybe your head's been spinning around and things came out of your mouth you thought you would never say and you would never do. And you're like, hey, I don't feel good about my reputation at home. Well, I got good news for you. God can take a disruption and help you pivot and go in a different direction. So today we're going to talk about Rahab. And if you have small children or young kids that you don't want to hear about Rahab, you may know about Rahab. She had a bad reputation. And so this is a time to get them into KXP, kind of put it on the, download it on the iPad, maybe on your phone, put some earplugs in, because we're going to talk about Rahab, who was a person that God chose. I mean, you may be a person with a bad reputation. You may have a terrible background. And I've got good news. God can write you into his story if you're willing to let him work in your life. So you know the background if you know the Bible. The people of God have been in Egypt for 40 years. They're now coming out, and Joshua and Caleb are leading them out. Joshua is sending 2 spies. He's learned, don't send 12. It's too many. Send 2. And they go into Jericho, and of all the places they could have gone, God sent them to Rahab's place. So let's read the story, and I'll kind of unpack it for you. Like, what is a reputation? Why do I want to change my reputation? How do I do that? How can I pivot during this crazy time and have the very best life at home regardless? We're going to talk about that. Joshua chapter 2, verse 1. Then Joshua, the son of Nun, secretly sent 2 spies, and he said, go look over the land, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab, and they stayed there. And the king of Jericho was told, look, some of the Israelites have come here tonight to spy out the land. So the king of Jericho sent the message to Rahab saying, bring those men out who came to you, and they've entered your house because they have come to spy out the whole land. But Rahab had taken the 2 men, and she had hidden them. She probably had a lot of practice at that. She said, yes, these men came to me, but I didn't know where they had come from. At dusk, when it was time to close the city gate, I don't know where they went, so go after them quickly. Maybe you can catch up to them. But she had taken them to the roof and hidden them under the stalks of flax that she had laid out on the roof. So the men set out in pursuit of the spies on the road that led to the fords of the Jordan. As soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gate was shut. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went onto the roof and said to them, I know that the Lord, Elohim, Jehovah, has given this land to you, and that a great fear has fallen on all of us in Jericho. So all who live in this country, we are melting with fear because of you. We've heard now how the Lord has dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt. That was 40 years earlier. And what you did to Sihon and Og, the 2 kings of the Amorites, east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. And when we heard of it, our hearts melted, and everyone in our country failed. Our courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above. There's only one God, she's saying, and on earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord God that you will show kindness to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and my sisters, and all who belong to me, and that you will save us from death. And they say, our lives for your lives. And the men assured her, if you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land. And they go on to tell them, and make sure you put a scarlet cord outside of your window. You're like, hey, what does all that mean? Well, it means that a reputation is important, and it may be that you have a bad reputation, and maybe that you're like, God could never use me. I've not been a good mom. I've not really done the right things during all this. And God says, hey, chill. I mean, of all the places that God could have sent these two spies, because he was directing them, he sent them to a place that was the last place you would ever expect. Rahab had a bad reputation. I mean, you read through the Bible, it calls her Rahab the harlot. Okay, and that's not the reputation that we would want. You say, what is a reputation? A reputation are the decisions and habits that you repeat. And listen, there's a reputation that you promote, and there's a reputation that you tote. And it's who you are behind the mask that really matters. I love what Taylor Swift, the great theologian, Sister Swift said. She said, this is the first generation that will be able to look back on their entire life story, documented in pictures on the internet, and together we will all discover the after effects of that. Ultimately, we will post photos online to curate what strangers think of us, and when we wake up and look in the mirror, our faces, we will see the cracks and scars and blemishes, and we will cringe. And that's come from Taylor Swift. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, she's saying, hey, you know, we all have an image, a reputation that we want everybody to see on Facebook and on Livegram. But there's really then who we are behind that, and you're going to see that you can change your reputation. I mean, Rahab's reputation was big. She had a big reputation, okay? I mean, when the spies came into Jericho, it was easy to find Rahab. It had 1-800 call Rahab. I mean, one call, that's all on the wall there, you know, for the people. And so she had a big reputation, and you would say it's a bad reputation. But let me tell you something. There may be some people in your life, and I can do this, man. I can get there where I see them go, man, they got a bad reputation. Listen, you don't need to give up on them. If you've got a bad reputation, you don't need to give up on yourself. Because God can write you into his story. Listen, before you judge people and before you say, hey, I'm done with them and God can never use them and they're terrible people and I'm writing them off, you don't know everything that's happened to them. No little girl grows up saying, I want to be a prostitute. Oh, I hope one day I'll be an addict. I mean, nobody does that. Nobody grows up saying, oh, I want to get a divorce. I mean, sometimes difficult things happen in your life and it leads you down a very bad road. But God says, hey, I can change that. I can give you a brand new reputation, and you need to realize that that reputation is built on the reputation of God. See, that's why you need to change your reputation. Because his reputation is better than yours. I don't know what your reputation is. Maybe you're the soccer mom, you're the hot mom, you're the cool mom, you know, you're the homeschool mom, you're the bed breaker. I don't know, the bread baking mom. I don't know what it is, but listen, God's reputation is this. You don't have to be perfect anymore because Jesus was perfect on your behalf. See, you develop a reputation based on what you trust in. Because where you put your faith, I mean, that's where you're going to go with all your decisions and all your habits and your time and your money. And here there are three or four places that you go to. It's the same places that Rahab went. First, it may be the wall. I mean, the security of your home, the things you build. I mean, she lived on the wall of Jericho. You know, what's that? Well, so what? So what? Listen, that was Madison Avenue. That was Beverly Hills. I mean, the wall of Jericho, you can Google this. The wall of Jericho is 30 feet high and 30 feet wide, and she had a condo on the wall with a window. She had a place in Jericho with a view, okay? She was rolling. She had the home you dreamed of. Let me tell you something. A home will not bring you ultimate security. You say, how do you know that? Well, the tornadoes. We had 4 tornadoes in like 3 weeks. And I don't know about you, but I was with my family, like, hey, y'all go get in the laundry room, put that pan over your head because it's like Russian roulette. You don't know where it's going to go. And I saw so many homes like during the tornado, and they were crushed. But the reality is our security is not in a home, okay? Money. If you've been watching the Dow, I call it the down, D-O-W-N. I mean, money, like the proverb says that if you place your faith in money, he said, it's like it's a bird. He said it will sprout wings and fly away. Boy, are they ever correct about what's going on right now? You say, my health, but I eat clean. I eat organic. Let me tell you something. It just takes one little germ. We found that. No matter how healthy you are, all of a sudden, or you get the message, you've got cancer. Or maybe you say, well, yeah, but I'm going to put my security, I am hot. I am hot. Well, look at me. That's probably not a good example. I'm still pretty rugged. But you can't put your confidence in you can't put your confidence and security in your friends. They get transferred. They move. I mean, she's learning, hey, I can't put my security in the wall. Because all of a sudden now these men have come and I realize it's all going to be taken from me, or your work. You say, well, hey, it's my work. I'm significant. Listen, you may like say, hey, I can't believe that being a prostitute was significant. She was like the Ashley Madison of the Old Testament, okay? Like in the Canaanite culture, she was somebody you wanted to be like. She was hot. She looked good, okay? Everybody wanted to be around her. Everybody wanted to be her. But here's the problem. When you put all of your trust in your work for significance, what do when you lose your job? What do you do when you can't perform at the level that you've been performing at? What do you do when the economy crashes around you and it takes away your business? If you're like a lot of people, I've been keeping up with this because I've been telling people the toll this is taking on people in business is incredible. In 1 week's time in Tennessee, they had more suicides than they did COVID deaths. Because if you put your significance in what you do, I'm going to tell you something, you're going to be disappointed. I mean, one day you're going to have to retire. I mean, it's going to be taken from you. You aren't what you do, it's who you belong to. See, when you understand that, when you get that, moms, listen, it's not how good a mom you are that you're perfect all the time. It's not what you do at home that makes you valuable. It's who you belong to. I told my grandson Hudson, we got our grandkids with us from Africa, and I'm so happy. And I was telling my grandson Hudson, he's watching this, and he's about 4.5, and I said, you're special. And he said, well, what did I do? And I said, Hudson, you don't have to do anything. You're special because you're mine. You're my grandson. Listen, you need to understand something. When you don't like your reputation or you love your reputation, here's the problem. Anything you put your trust into that is created, it will enslave you. It will not give you freedom. But when you realize, when you come to know Christ, when you place your trust in Him, man, He gives you a big reputation. He gives you His reputation. You become His child. You are put into His family. And all of a sudden, your life can be totally changed forever and ever. The reputation is what you repeat. It's the habits and decisions that you make over and over again. And I'm just encouraging you to think about, hey, make those decisions and repeat those things that you know are what God has created you to do and be. The last thing that you can put your hope in, that she put her hope in, that we all look to, is the world for satisfaction. And I'm going to tell you, I think she had a great life. I mean, Rahab was beautiful. Rahab was desired. Everybody wanted to be around her. And in a crisis, when the spies came to her house, all the things that she trusted in began to be peeled away. Her security, her significance. And I think she began to ask herself, am I really happy? I mean, am I really satisfied with all that I have around me? Let me tell you something, crisis, that word comes from two Chinese characters that basically mean danger and opportunity. And for all of us, this has been an opportunity to think about what really matters, to think about what really satisfies. Because one thing that's happened in the middle of the coronavirus and the pandemic is that all the things that we used to kind of run to and kind of numb us from thinking about our lives has been taken away from us. And all of a sudden we realize you can't put your security in your stuff. You can't get your significance from what you do. You're not going to find total satisfaction from the world. You know why? Because you were made by God and for God. Mm-hmm. There's a God-shaped vacuum in every human heart that can only be filled by God. Man, I hope you've gotten that of everything we've gone through. That where you find your significance, where you change your reputation, where all of a sudden you change your repetitions, your habits and your decisions that you make, not based on having more security in things, not based on having significance in your work, not based on having satisfaction and more pleasure, but the reality of who you are in a relationship with Jesus Christ. You say, well, how do I do that? I mean, how do I do that? I mean, I go to church. I mean, I'm a good person, and I'm a pretty good mom. I'm a pretty good, whatever. Well, let me tell you, that's not what it means to be a child of God. What it means is you got to lay your yes down. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, I've gotten on. I cannot get away from that. The reality of following Jesus Christ is saying yes. I don't know what the question is. I don't know what you would have me do, but I want to tell you up front, my security is not in things. My significance is not in work. My satisfaction is not in all the things I can do around me. I want to say yes to you because you're my security. You're where I go to find significance. And when you do that, God will begin to do some amazing things in your life. Listen, when the spies came to her house, she had a decision to make. She knew who they were. I mean, the moment she opened that door, she was opening the door to her future saying, yes, Lord. I don't know if I'm going to get caught. I don't know if this is going to work out, but I want to say, yes, Lord, up front. I want you to come on in. I invite you in. And she says, I want to be a part of your family. She said, we have heard about the Lord. I love it. She goes, we've already heard about the Lord. For 40 years, she had heard about the Lord. She had heard about all the amazing things that He had done. And she wanted to place her faith in God. She says, I want to be a God follower. I believe there's one God. That's an amazing word in the Canaanite culture. They had thousands of gods. And she said, no, I believe that your God, this is so cool, is the Lord of heaven and earth. That He can do anything He chooses to do. And she places her faith in. Let me tell you what faith isn't, because this is really important. Faith is not sight. And this is how this rolls out. This is how we like to do faith. God, you ask me the question first, and then I'll let you know if I want to follow you. You tell me how much it's going to cost me, and if it's not too much, I'll do that. That's not faith, that's sight. And that never goes away. I was getting coffee last week, and someone had paid for my coffee the day before. Somebody in our church, precious person, paid for my coffee, and the Lord said, you need to pay it forward. And so I was kind of driving up, and there's nobody behind me, so I was excited, like I don't have to worry about it, no. And then all of a sudden this guy pulls up, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy his whatever he gets. I'm just going to pay for it when I get to the line. And so, but I got weak, and I put the window, and I was listening, I wonder what he's going to order. I mean, what if he orders a chick coffee? I mean, what if he orders like a coffee maker? I mean, I was going like, God, I don't know if you want me to. Do you want me to do it? God, no, just bless him. And so I get up to the window and I'm like, hey, I want to pay for my coffee, and I want to pay the guys behind me. And sure enough, I'm telling you, man, like I was like, I know that's terrible, how weak. And he got a venti. Just a regular coffee, and I was so happy. See, this is what we say. We're like, God, if you'll bless me, God, with more money, I'll give. God, if you'll bless me with more margin, I'll serve. No, you lay your yes down. You say, I'm placing my faith in you. And I don't care what the question is. I don't care what the cost is. I am telling you yes. Because I want to be a part of your family. She said something that I want you to get and I want you to keep forever. She said, hey, This is what I want for my family. And she goes down the line. My parents, my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, and all of their family members. She said, I want you to show your kindness to us. That word is hesed. It's a covenant language. It literally means, I want you to cover us. Listen, that's what you want during all this. This is what you want. Even when you think things are good, man, what you want is you want a covenant relationship with God. You want him to cover you. It's like Joshua said when he said, hey, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That happens by faith, where you simply say to God, hey, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to give. I'm going to go. I'm going to serve. I'm going to be faithful. I'm not going to wait and know there's no risk involved. Listen, friends, that's not faith at all. In the next chapter, if you read Joshua 3, I love this. In Joshua 3, he tells like the leaders that are carrying the Ark of the Covenant. This is so cool. And it's in the Jordan, the Jordan River, and it's up, and it's, rolling. And this is, he says, I want you to go and take the Ark of the Covenant and stand in the middle of the river. You're going, okay, yeah, right. And guess what they did? They walked right into the river, and when they did, the river parted. Oh, that is so cool. It's a picture of faith. It's laying your yes down. I mean, they're carrying something. You're going to stand in the middle of the river. I mean, isn't the bottom going to be soft? I mean, aren't you going to sink? I mean, this isn't going to work. I mean, there's all kind of reasons to not do it. Listen, sometimes when God tells you to do something, it doesn't make sense until you look back. And you lay your yes down. For me and my house will serve the Lord. He said, well, yeah, but, how did it work out for Rahab the harlot? It worked out pretty good. Because when they began to march around the wall of Jericho 7 times and shout, if you know the story, and the wall falls down, all the wall fell down but one section. The section where her and her family were in. Because there was a scarlet cord coming out the window. Let me tell you something. I don't care about the virus. I don't care about what they're saying. When you say, hey, for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord, and you've got the scarlet cord of the blood of Jesus covering your home, let me tell you something. You are secure. You can rest in the hope that you have in Jesus. She had security. Not only that, she had significance. She got everything. Listen, I just want to tell you, like when you follow Jesus, he throws in all that stuff, okay? She had significance. In the Bible, she's named 3 or 4 times in the Bible. In Hebrews 11:31, it says, by faith, Rahab the prostitute, they kept calling her that. Just kind of so you'd be reminded of what God can do. Because she welcomed the spies, by faith she welcomed the spies, because that she was not killed with those who were disobedient. And then James, the brother of Jesus, says this, is in the same way even Rahab the prostitute was considered righteous for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction. You're like, well, yeah, but I bet she didn't have a fun life. I bet she wasn't satisfied with her life. Well, she met a guy. Now, he had a terrible name. His name was Salmon, okay, like the fish. You knew Salmon was Salmon. He was the architect of Bethlehem. She married him. They had a little boy named Boaz. Boaz met a woman by the name of Ruth. See how God works this out? She goes from Rahab the prostitute to Rahab the righteous. And she has a daughter-in-law like Priscilla Shire. Oh, she's the great-grandmother of King David. Oh, she's the great-grandmother times 10 of Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 1. You think Matthew, the tax collector, didn't get excited when he rolled out the lineage of Jesus? And there in the lineage of Jesus is Rahab the prostitute. The lady that God used to write into the story of the life of Jesus. Let me tell you something. When you come to know Jesus, when you put your faith in him, man, you have value. Let me ask you something. Would you like this $100 bill? Do you like it? So just raise your hand if you're like at home or if you're chatting, or just raise your hand because I may give this away. I may not because look at in Benjamin's. Okay, yeah. Look, you want it now? You want it now? You want it? It's all crinkled up. You still want it, right? Why? Because it's backed by the federal government, the Federal Reserve. You know, it still got worth. Now you don't want it because it got corona. But the reality is, hey, you want it because it is backed by something of value. And you know that no matter how it's beat up or crushed or pulled or stepped on, it's worthy. When you come to know Christ, it doesn't matter about your past. It doesn't matter what you did during the corona. All that matters is who you belong to. It's backed by the scarlet cord that's hanging out of the window. Listen, what I got to finish with Taylor, the theologian, Sister Taylor Swift, the Swiftie. She says, we hope someday we'll meet someone who will see that same morning face, instead see their future, their partner, their forever. Someone who will still choose us even when they see all the sides of the story, all the angles of the kaleidoscope. That is you. Well, Taylor, I'm going to tell you, you found that person in the person of Jesus Christ. Now listen to me. I don't care what you've done, care where you've been. You think about it. None of you have been as far gone as Rahab. And out of all the people in the world that God could have sent the spies to, the first person in the promised land that they are sent to is Rahab. And today God is coming to you to say, I want to use you. I want to love you. I want to change you. I want to pray for you. I don't care what your reputation, you can have a big reputation in Jesus. Father in heaven, I pray right now for your blessings, that you'd be honored. God, there's so many moms that are so discouraged. Lift them up. Give them courage. Give them strength. Let them know you want to use them in your story that you're writing and that you can use them right now. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.